welcome everyone again to another episode of the Hood Paralegal Podcast. This episode 8. In this episode, we're going to be elaborating on the business of mass incarceration. And this is part 1 of a multi-part series. I first want to start off by giving a shout out to my whole team, especially my little sister, Santana Webb, our promotion manager, for helping push the content. We appreciate you deeply. Our Prison Riot family, my sister Jay Renee, and everybody that's supporting the movement. We appreciate y'all. Continue to like, comment, and share on all platforms. And we value y'all opinion. Like I said, our whole purpose is to create dialogue, and we want to hear what y'all got to say about the content we put out. Now, I want to start off with a quote from Dr. Fap, the director of ACLU National Prison Project. He stated, "This is an industry that profits from human suffering." Now, in Wisconsin, keeping the average prisoner behind bars costs taxpayers about $30,000. And prisoners over 50 years old with chronic health problems cost taxpayers as much as $150,000 a year. Yet, experts have long agreed that most criminals age out of committing new offenses by then. Prisoners are also worth a lot of money, and there's a price tag on their heads of many thousands of dollars to those who make money off of punishment. In Wisconsin alone, it's $1 billion a year economy ripe for profiteering. While it's difficult to calculate an offender's exact value to the prison profiteers, it's worth exploring the contours of the lucrative ecosystem and reviewing who benefits and who's harmed. And that's what we're going to do in this series, break down who benefits from the punishment economy, the mass incarceration, and who's harmed. Now, a few more numbers to underline the scale of the issue. Police will make 11.5 million arrests this year. On average, a pair of handcuffs used every 3 seconds of every day. Over 77 million Americans, 1 of every 3 adults, now have a criminal record. Each one of those arrestees represented a series of business opportunities. They needed a lawyer, a bail bond, a jumpsuit, a mattress, a jail phone account, linens, commissary food, and hygiene items, and some prescriptions. 1 in 8 jobs in this country relies on punishing fellow citizens. By some estimates, there are directly related jobs like prison guards, prosecutors, bail bondsmen, and probation officers, of course, but there are innumerable less obvious punishment-related jobs just one step removed. The employees of the prison telecom, meaning the phone system, you got Global Tel-Link, Secures, and IC Solutions, the commercial food service companies, Trinity, Airmark, Canteen Correctional, the pharmacy and health companies that market to correction agencies, Diamond, Horizon, WellPath, etc., the makers of the cheap jumpsuits and linens and foam mats, Bob Barker Company, the private prisoner transport services, Transcorp, PTS of America, and the commissary services, Keefe and Union Supply, and financial services like Access Corrections, Numi, J-Pay, and Release Pay. Now, U.S. taxpayers will spend well over $80 billion a year benefiting these companies and many others to lock up our fellow Americans, and those are just the most direct costs of physically penning roughly 2 million prisoners. That dollar figure doesn't consider the untold long-term costs like building and maintaining more than 6,000 new jails and prisons over the last 40 years, paying out pensions for retired prison staff, or servicing the debt on the municipal bonds financing prison construction. Nor does the $80 billion count expenses borne by prisoners and families, court costs and fines, pay to stay fees and lockups, phone calls and email visits, and canteen items, and etc. In 1980, the direct cost of incarceration totaled just about $6 billion. We now spend $9 billion alone just to keep 100,000 senior citizens behind bars, 50% more than we spent locking up all prisoners 40 years ago. Now, where is all that $80 billion going? Is it keeping American communities safer? Or are we just producing greater corporate profits at American family expenses? Besides consumables like blankets and jumpsuits, repeat customers are really all the prison industrial complex churns out. Recidivists are the primary product of the punishment economy and the real source of its profits. No other conclusion fits when over 2/3 of those released will be back within a few years. If any other large public enterprise had a track record like this, we demanded an immediate overhaul. The revolving door keeps their personnel employed and their stock prices and profits on the steady incline. Now I'm going to pass the mic to my brother Javon, and he's going to elaborate more on the profiteering schemes behind the phone system and the medical providers. And I thank everybody for tuning in again, and stay tuned, and we look forward to your comments and everything, and have a blessed week and success to all. With the price tag on their heads, prisoners are worth a lot of money. This episode will be like a math class. Numbers will help tell this story. My name is Javon Curtis, speaking on behalf of Hood Paralegals. The business of mass incarceration is the topic of today. They say talk is cheap. Well, that isn't the case for individuals who are incarcerated. Certain public figures seem to constantly capitalize from the struggle of others. Figures such as Tom Gores, the owner of the Detroit Pistons. Gores is the founder of Platinum Equity and a private firm which has $23 billion under management. I repeat, which has $23 billion under management. Platinum owns Aventive, which is the parent company of both Securus Technologies and JPay, both of which gouge prisoners and families for their monopolizing services. Securus provides telecom services to roughly 1.2 million prisoners and 3,400 lockups, half of these incarcerated in the U.S. It boasts that its phone rates are capped at $13.65 for a 15-minute phone call, and that these calls average $3.57. These high costs are claimed to be for monitoring and recording calls. In reality, these dollars are returned to institutions in the form of commissions, which is just another word for kickbacks. This helps companies win contracts in the first place. The privilege of talking to a loved one locked up and making sure they are all right costs the families an average of $100 a month. Monitoring and recording costs can't be that high. In 2018, Securus signed a contract with the Illinois prison system to provide telecom services to just 1 cent per minute. Even under this contract, Securus still turns a profit. With video visitation being provided in most institutions, Securus has found a way to expand its business. Keep in mind that in-person visitations is free. Securus has lobbied corrections departments to end in-person visits altogether. On that ground, that the video visits is safer, charging visitors up to $1 per minute on the video visits. For the mental stability, the embrace of a loved one, and there is no substitute. A 2017 report by the HERE Institute found that a video call averaged $12.95, a cost so prohibitive that 90% of the prisoners haven't bothered. If Securus were offering extra convenience for its services, some profit might be understandable. JPay is another example of Aventive's profiting at the expense of prisoners and families. JPay services are used by those incarcerated for fund transfers, emails, music downloads, pictures, and games. A single email can cost 25 cents up to 39 cents, and a $200 money transfer to an offender account earns JPay anywhere from $8 up to $13. These avenues earn JPay outrageous fees by charging the kind of high services that a monopoly affords. Speaking of healthy fees, JPay provides tablets and MP3 media players, cheap Chinese-made products that malfunction, constantly require replacement at the expense of prisoners. The tablets are often the only way they can receive photos for an added fee, of course. Many prison systems no longer allow photos and cards to be sent in by mail. Officials claim that the ban prevents drugs from coming through the mail, but unsurprisingly, drugs continue to enter the prisons and jails. This kind of profiting by Securus and JPay aren't isolated examples. They're emblematic
of a system that has been allowed to flourish for too long in this country. Where hedge funds and private equity billionaires like Gore's profit off the misery of families with loved ones behind bars. When NBA players protest about social injustice issues, they might want to include a point message to Gore's and other team owners who profit off these enterprises. Other prison phone companies are no better. Security's main competitor, Global Tel Link, owned by private equity firm American Securities LLC, which provides phone services to 1 million prisoners and 2,300 lockups, and profits off high rates as well. In 2020, GTL, Global Tel Link, paid $25 million to settle a class action suit by New Jersey offenders alleging that the company charged up to 100 times the actual cost of calls and collected excessive fees. GTL pays commissions to prisons that use their services, just like their competitors. The company was also under fire for keeping deposits from prepaid accounts if they become inactive, usually when a prisoner was released or transferred. The business of mass incarceration. We would love to hear your opinion on this subject. We encourage comments. Thank you for tuning in. And we also ask you to tune in next time for a continuation of this episode. Thank you.